are going to be talking about law number 6, the law of solid ground. And we'll just jump right in. Maxwell says that the law of solid ground is based on trust, and trust is the foundation of leadership.
The law of solid ground is law number 6 of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And so the law of solid ground is talking about trust and how trust is the foundation of leadership.
How do you build trust? You build trust through integrity. You build trust through good character. Another thing that the way that you build trust is basically by building relationships with people, letting people see you on a day-to-day basis. And it talks about also how trust is the glue that keeps the organization together.
So how well do people trust you determines how strong your leadership can be. So how is trust built? And so he gave 3 C's here that trust is built with: consistency, competence. And so how competent are you? How well do you know what you do or what you are intending to do with your business, and how are you coming out? So that was a challenge for me, because just competent to say, okay, Lemzel, great, you speak, you do all that, you do that well, but the topics that you talk on, how competent, and those people that follow you, or that you're building as you're building your team, do they trust you to know your subject, and trust you to be able to build the company and to grow it and develop it to where they feel they can be a part, or they feel that they can put their time, effort, and energy into what I'm doing. So this is part of building that trust. Next is connections. And so trust is built connecting. So one thing, just where I am now, connecting with people, I think surface connections are very, very easy to do. I know for me, just to say, hey, I'm connecting with them, thinking I'm connecting with them, but it's just that surface connection of hey, how you doing? That type of thing, what's going on? But really getting, I think what I'm learning is that as we get into developing this business, we're recognizing that the connections are needing to be deeper. I'm really needing to know what are their own personal visions, and do they connect with where I am, and so and where I want to go. And so building that trust there, I think it's really significant. When we talk about consistently saying, hey guys, this is where it is, and being able to cut them loose if they're not, if they're toxic, and toxic not meaning that in a bad way right now, but toxic as far as they're not going where I'm wanting to go, or they're not helping. How do I cut them loose and be honest with it? Be trust, be serious, be authentic with my connections. And then the last one is character, and this is something that I know since my health crisis, this is something that's real big for me. Is that how am I a man of character? Not just me personally, but how am I showing this character of being real and authentic as I grow this business? And so that is real significant with me. So building that trust with people to say, hey, I'm with you, or no, I don't think I'm down with that. So that is something that's significant there.
Trust is the firm belief in the character, strength, or truth of someone else. And Maxwell says that leaders cannot repeatedly break trust with people and continue to influence them. And we've talked about in our previous laws the law of influence, because we have to have relationship. We want followers to come along. We're leading people. When we talk about the law of navigation, we are leading people, and so trust is that foundation so that we can get followers, right?
It put me in the mind of Matthew, when in the Bible, Matthew chapter 7, when Jesus was talking about, good morning, Lemzel, when he was talking about building your house on a rock, on that strong foundation. And so that's what that phrase put me in the mind of. And so trust is very important, in a leader. And so much so that if it's not there, then your foundation or your lid is low. So that was pretty profound for me. That was one of the takeaways I got from that chapter. Also, the leader is kind of like the head. The leader is the head of household, is so much to speak, because, which is a tax filing status, head of household, because the leader makes the decisions. The leader, everyone follows the lead of the leader. And so that responsibility, that position is very important, because all the wins or losses fall back on the leader. So the buck stops with the leader. And so that's a very important position, an important title to have. And I think a lot of people really take it for granted and don't realize the amount of responsibility it is to be a leader. And not only that, the amount of work it takes to maintain, because once you're in that position, it doesn't stop there. The personal development is a continuous process. And in order to be a great leader, you have to continue to develop yourself, as we learned in a previous chapter where it talked about, the law of addition, adding value, being able to add value to your followers.
So one of Maxwell's experience with trust happened when he was a pastor. And the church had several new programs starting, and he decided to make 3 major decisions and implement them without involving his staff or team. And he notes that none of his decisions were wrong, because as a leader, we actually have that option to do that, make decisions, implement them, because again, we're looking at the big picture, we're looking at the vision. But the mistake that he made was how, or the way he made the decisions. He thought that since things were going so well that he could take a shortcut. And how many of us know that a shortcut is a recipe? A shortcut, as I say, is a recipe for failure, or can be, I should say. And it also is a recipe to help us fail.
Here, how's respect earned? And as I was going through preparing this, I saw the picture of this colonel that was, I think he was in World War II and lost his legs. And so the younger guys were showing him respect, because they, he's been where they are, and he's still there. And so they looked at him and said, "Hey, this guy's paid the price, and he's earned that respect for them to show him that all the time, and he's there." And I thought that was just a great picture. But respect is earned, and what Dr. Maxwell talks about, some things, making sound decisions. And for me in the past, sometimes this becomes a part where it becomes shaky, like, okay, I'm about to make a decision, this is a big step, or that type of thing. And sometimes making those steps has been difficult. And I think it has affected my team, saying that, okay, are you sure that this thing is going to make it? Or how are the decisions that you're making? So moving forward and learning from my past and trying to move forward with the current team in the process of saying, okay, you're making the sound decisions because the vision is clear, because the direction, your 5-year plan is clear. So now we can make decisions based on that, and not just decisions on a whim, so to speak. So admitting mistakes. And so I think on the forefront, we say, oh yeah, I can admit my mistakes. But I think in the heat of it, it can be very difficult to say, hey man, I was wrong there. And sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but me, sometimes seeing mistakes that I've made sometimes are not very clear to me. So somebody may bring it to my attention, hey, Lemzel, such and such went on. And I'm like, oh. And so I try to have my character in alignment with where I'm able to admit that quickly, and then try to correct it if I can, or what I call right my wrongs as fast as I can. But I think going forward is, I was teaching the other day about leaders evaluate themselves on a continuous basis. And so as I evaluate myself, admitting my mistakes, I think is a part of the process that, hey, I'm implementing into the process. Say, hey, we're going to admit these things. We're going to see things. We're going to be authentic. Let people know that, hey, we're working through some things. We're struggling through some things here. There was a challenge that I think I was reading, something else I was reading, and I'll just kind of interject right here. It just said, it was a question, I think maybe on social media, and this question said, do we want our leaders to admit all of our mistakes, admit their mistakes and be authentic, or do we want them to just be this figurehead and this person that we just respect, and we don't want to know all their dirty stuff like that? It was something that it was just a question they put out on social media. So the answers were, again, probably 50-50 both ways. But I think as what Dr. Maxwell was saying, hey, we got to be authentic and be trustworthy, so our people can build that. We can earn that respect when they know that we make mistakes and we're not trying to cover up. Several examples he gave about presidents and the government and how they've covered mistakes up, and we're still suffering from that today. The third thing he put in how respect is earned is unselfish agendas. And it's not about me, but it's about how do we impact the people that we're called to serve. So for me, that's it. So everywhere I'm going, I look at, hey, how am I speaking? How am I called? Is it my agenda, or am I really trying to say that what I have and what I'm giving is helping people? And so not only that, but look at my team. How am I investing my life, my time? Is it my agenda that I'm pushing, and are my goals and my visions just for me, to benefit me and my family, or is it to benefit those that I feel God has called me to serve? And so unselfish agendas is something that for me is that I'm having to work at that all the time, because I think selfishness is this a natural MO. So, but pushing my MO down and saying, okay, what's the real agenda here is to help other people. Do I see the results that I'm saying my company is promising to these that are there?
But the main business that I'm in the relationship business. The relationship with people in the organization, and also the customer clientele. That's what it's all about. It's all about building relationships. And through the building of relationships, trust is gathered. And the stronger that relationship, the more how people see you as a person of your word, as a person of good character, the stronger that organization is going to be. So trust is everything pretty much on that. Also, trust is also rooted in good character. The type of person that you are. Also, with character, one of the things that I read that really got me was the John Maxwell talked about how the misuse of trust. How when you can make the right decisions, but the way that you went about doing it basically misuses the people's trust. And he gives an example. He was in the church in San Diego, and how he had to fire a guy, how he changed a Christmas program, how he cut out a Sunday evening service. But it was not the fact that he made bad decisions. All the decisions were right. It's the way he went about doing it. And one of the things that I caught on with last night is that when I was reading the Law of Influence a couple of weeks ago versus studying the Law of Solid Ground, he always cast a vision to the leaders. He always cast a vision to the influencers. Then what he would do is let those leaders and influencers go to the people and spread it. It was like a sign of it was like a way of respect. It was like he was respecting authority. But on this line, he didn't respect authority. What he did was he basically cut corners. He skipped the process. He skipped protocol, so to speak. So when he skipped protocol, it was basically like a sign of disrespect. But to correct the problem, to correct the matter, he was quick to apologize. He was quick to repent. He didn't let it go on. He realized the problem was him. He humbled himself, and he went in front of the people and he apologized.